Nolan Wells. And I got to say this. We still don't have answers. It looks like the independent examiner didn't have all of Nolan's body parts, particularly the neck. And I have a doctor that I'm going to play a video of stressing how this is very unusual, because if Nolan drowned, you would want that examiner to be able to examine the neck area, right? Lungs were removed. That would prove whether there was something of a drowning nature. And so the examiner did the best that he could have done with what he had to work with. So that's why this autopsy is not the final autopsy, and it's not didn't give us all the answers that we were looking for, but it did give us some inkling of something strange going on when they didn't even send the neck contents of his neck or the lungs. And I know that when you do an autopsy, it is standard to take organs out of a body, right? In the case of Nolan, it is standard to put those in a bag respectfully. But the problem is that the second examiner was at a disadvantage, at a complete disadvantage in terms of what he was allowed to be able to see. We do know that there was some unusual bruising that they talked about, some kind of reddish color in the back of the head that makes people believe, that something happened, that was there blunt damage to the back of the head? Was he hitting the back of the head? The examiner, according to Ben Crump, wasn't able to pinpoint exactly every single thing because there was lack of other physical evidence that he needed in this exam. One of the problems I had with the presentation is that I don't know for the life of me why they had attorney Benjamin Crump read this. I think it would have been more effective had they had the actual doctor, the actual examiner, to really break some of this stuff down a little bit better than what Crump was able to do. Okay, because his mother, his father, they deserve answers. And they have not been getting answers. They keep getting the runaround. His father, his mother, they need to know the truth. We need to know the truth. Now, I already know that they're calling him Nolan's best friend. That's that guy, Warren, who's jumped out the window to interview one of the biggest sellouts and buck dancers on social media. I'm not calling him Officer Tate because he ain't an officer. He hasn't worked for a police department in God knows when. He left the police department, so they say, to join the likes of those in the far right. So I'm not calling him an officer. He ain't got no badge. He not an officer of the law. This man didn't even retire as an officer. He just jumped into social media where he knew he could grift and make money. And so he went out there, went on the beach. I got all the clips. I got all the video footage for you today on this stream today. Don't go nowhere. We got everything you need over here. This whole situation is the most ridiculous thing. Let me fix something over here that's already fixed. And let me pop something. I want to be able to see some of the people that's coming in to this stream today. And I don't want nobody to go anywhere because I've got a load of stuff to show you that we need to dig into. I'm going to tell you right now, as you see in the description of this video, lungs and throat missing because they didn't. What's going on with the examiner's office, the coroner's office, the examiner in Mississippi, which we know the history of Mississippi? Why is it that they were derelict and not sending the neck and lungs? Because the neck tells you a lot. And then the question is, where is the neck? Is it in their possession? And then it makes you open up the door to say, when they found his body, was there damage to his neck? Was there no damage to his neck? Did they find him with a damaged neck? or throat. Because within that interior of the neck, we're talking about the throat, should I say, the doctor never had a chance to examine that. Benjamin Crump did say that the doctor did not rule out, but could not conclusively say, but he did not rule out that there could have been foul play. Didn't rule it out, but could not give a definitive answer to that. So we all got left with what the hell's going on. His family got left with what's hell going on. Let me remind you of what the mother said about how they treated her out there in Mississippi, that police department, that sheriff's department, how they have not been giving them information. Let me let you see this video again.
I sent him a text message. I was like, hey, this is Christine, Nolan's mom. I just want to see if there are any updates. Basically, he called back. There were no updates. He's like, we're still interviewing. And again, my concern, and also my husband's concern, was it was not even an hour that his body had been removed. And the sheriff came out and said, this is, accidental drowning. We don't think there's foul play. Again, that is why we're doing what we're doing and why we're moving the way we are. Because I sat there and asked them, please take this case as if this is your child, yes, your family member, your whatever. And they promised that they would, but when you make statements like that straight out the gate, that's an issue. We did meet with the DA. She did promise, transparency and all of this, all of that. However, damage has already been done because now that's the narrative that's being pushed by the general public, who again know nothing really, only what they're hearing from other people. So in addition to that, it's all these things coming up. And at the end of the day, like I said before, any parent that would be in this situation, you would do anything to find out what happened to your child. And that is.
Ladies and gentlemen, is she correct about that? You will do anything, everyone. And now this is the DA. I've talked to you all about this woman before. According to a judge, Carlos Moore, who had the displeasure of having to deal with her, she doesn't have a good record when it comes to getting justice for people of the melanated persuasion, if y'all know what I mean, okay? This woman does not have the best interests in mind. So even though they went and talked to this DA, the mother, once again, had to break down doors. The mother had to make noise to get recognized, for her family to be recognized. And that, to me, is a damn shame. Let me also say that I don't trust this particular sheriff, Let Belly, or whatever the hell he calls himself. Let me put him up here because I don't trust the guy. And I want you to look at his face on this picture. I enhanced it and everything like that. Today, footage was put out there. There was a reporter, a sister from Louisiana, New Orleans, who confronted him when he was coming out of the office because guess what? They haven't been taking calls from the media. They don't want to talk to the media. They're acting hush hush. They don't want to give anybody information. Hell, they're not even, this man, John Lidbetter, he's not even giving the family information that they need. You just heard the mother, Christina, speak. And everybody's giving her a hard time. She said that she's been getting death threats and people have been giving her a hard time just because she went on her social media to tell people who support her, thank you for the well wishes. Because remember, before all this happened, she was a beauty influencer on social media. I didn't know that. Some of you didn't know that. Maybe you did know that. And that's all she did. They made a big deal out of that, talking about, oh, she's clout chasing. Clout chasing what? She's telling people that follow her on social media, hey, I haven't been around. You guys know why. But thank you for your well wishes. Right? And she was crying in the process. She was crying in the process. But this man, John Ledbetter, the reason why he's got this weird look on his face, because that reporter who came up from New Orleans, who said this was the second time she came up to talk to him, the first time she came up to talk to him, Nobody was there. Nobody would talk to the mother. The mother wasn't talked to. The media personality that I'm going to show that, the sister that went up there, should I say, said, this is my second time trying to meet with you, but they told me that you were busy or you weren't here. They've been dodging the media, y'all. But on this day in question, he got what do you call it? You could tell he was scared because she came out of nowhere, got his attention. He wasn't expecting it. That's why he's got this weird look on his face. And I'm going to play you that video clip to let you see just how ridiculous this looked. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and play it now. I was going to play it later in the show, but let's just go ahead and play it right now.
Sure. Can I ask you a quick question really quickly? Sure. Can I ask you a question? I'm Chantel with WDSU in New Orleans. I came up here 2 weeks ago to meet with you, but I think y'all were in and out of meetings about the Wells case, and then they told me eventually you just weren't able to come out. So that was
because he didn't want to talk to you.
So I'm back now. I'm wondering if you guys will be releasing any more details concerning the case. The last thing I saw on your social media was on July 8th, the same day. So any extra details, because we did just get the independent autopsy results today. Anything that you can give us?
Not at this time.
Okay, so y'all are no longer answering questions about the case?
Yeah.
Now look at his expression when she says, you all are no longer taking questions about the case. He has this look on his face like he's busted. He wasn't expecting her to be out there, and his answers are not satisfactory. No, they're not. And then this is the same sheriff's department that does not communicate with the mother or the family, period. They have even stated it.
I know you're trying to get some edited footage, but
no, I'm just asking. I'm just confirming.
That's all we're saying. We're actively investigating.
Thank you. My name is Chantel. We're from New Orleans, WDSU News.
I'm Doug. Doug. Hey, Joe.
Okay. Yeah.
It's still actively being investigated.
Again, this was from the press conference this morning. When mom said that y'all were saying there was no foul play in the beginning, but now this, has anything changed since then at all, or?
Like I said, we're actively investigating the case. It's still active.
Actively investigating the case.
The state medical examiner did not release their report right at this time.
If I were you, I'd check with the district attorney's office too.
Now he's telling her, she says that the state has not released their findings of the autopsy yet. And he tells her, you can go check with the district attorney, the same district attorney that we can't trust. Okay, that woman right there who has a history of BSing cases involving black people. This is Mississippi, y'all. I don't care what anybody says. Back to it.
Yeah, as far as I know, you don't have to publish that. That's going through the district attorney's office. That's not. We don't do that. It's state medical exam.
So basically, it was nothing about nothing. He didn't say anything. He basically was stallmating the whole situation. Okay. And this woman right here, the DA, as Carlos Moore judge, who was living out there, was born and from Mississippi, he told us the way they get down in Mississippi is not kosher. They got him out of there, out of the paint, because he was speaking up for black issues and for black people, and they didn't like that. This is in Mississippi. Once you got black people on social media that are sticking up for these so-called white kids who claim to be his friend, but none of them went to his funeral. None of them, but we do have one of them, Hudson, who's now, he didn't go talk to the police. He didn't even have the decency to go talk to the family, okay? But he's got the audacity to go talk to a buck dancer like Tatum. Has so much to say to Tatum. And his mother, I got to say this. His mother, who's a judge, told us that they were getting off of social media. Remember that? They said they were going to get off of social. Our family, along with the community, grieves the loss of Nolan Wales, but you didn't go to their funeral. You didn't reach out to the family. She says here, no one in our family is trying in any way to impede with the investigation by law enforcement. Well, then why is your son talking to a podcaster and not talking to law enforcement? To otherwise hamper the family and law enforcement questions to answer. He hasn't answered any questions to law enforcement. He goes to a damn podcaster who's just looking to grift and sensationalize the situation. Warren was interviewed by okay, so they're saying that Warren was interviewed by Jackson County Sheriff's Department. Let me correct myself. By Jackson County Sheriff's Department and cooperated fully. He saw Nolan last at 3 p.m. on July 4th. They left around 4:30 p.m. Tatum in his video clip, I got it, everybody. I got this. Tatum in his video clip said that they all left Nolan. Check this out. This is the inconsistency. I got the clip for y'all to see. Tatum said when he interviewed Warren, and I got the clips for you, he said that they all got there, they all went there on separate boats, and that Warren was already, all the white kids that he came there with, they were all gone and left him on the island. He said they were gone at 4 o'clock. That's what Tatum said because he's been talking to Warren. But in the reports, see, this is the inconsistency. The mother says that he left around 4:30 p.m. when the boat was taking on water and they had an issue with the pump. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island and return inland later with another group of kids or friends. But the question is, if he left with another group of friends, why is it that he's not alive, but everybody else is alive? That still doesn't make sense. Let's get to a little bit of this autopsy, shall we? Bear with it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to it because Nolan needs justice. Nolan needs answers. We need answers. This whole thing still continues to be something seems to not be right. Check this out. This is Ben Crump. No. This is what I wanted to show you guys. They said, or the Cajun Navy rescuers said that it was unusual when they found his body that his body was facing, I think, down. He was, and now when Attorney Crump says he was dressed, we all know that he had swimming trunks on. We know he wasn't out there with a two-piece suit on or anything like that. But this is what happens to a body when it's in the water, right? The body begins to sink. You look to the left diagram. The body begins to sink. Then the body begins to bloat and goes into a bloating phase. And then when it bloats, it goes up. You see it to the right. It begins to resurface out of the water. But the Cajun Navy rescuers said that they thought it was unusual. One of the guys that's been talking about this said that it was very unusual the way Nolan's body kind of showed up and the way the body was positioned. He said it was a little unusual. Let's go ahead and hear what he was saying.
Towards the northwest tip of Horn Island, when we noticed there were boats in the center of the island where there's a lagoon tip, and then when we got closer, we noticed there were two boats already parked in tandem on the beach. That was strange. It was a Monday morning. It was obvious they weren't fishing. So we descended and to about maybe 450 feet, 500 feet, and we could tell it was law enforcement boats, law enforcement personnel. And then I noticed that there was what appeared to be a body right at the shoreline, laying face down. The one thing I'll say about the condition of the body, and again, I want to stress very, as much as I can, that I'm at 450 feet in the air. But normally when a body's been floating, you'll see some bloating and whatnot. He wasn't in the water that long. The water temperature was high. He has a low body mass index. Normally we'll look for a body to pop up on about day 4, but we knew it was possible he could pop up as soon as day 2. And this was day 2. I'm trying to think of the most respectful way to say it. The body did not seem at that height to be disproportionate to the way it should look. Now,
see? Did you hear what he said? Now, this is what he's talking about right here. You see on the diagram, the sinking of the body to the down level of the water. the bloating phase that the body goes through when it begins to come back up and resurface. He did admit, he said, well, from my vantage point, it was hard to see certain things because I'm in the air, flying a plane, whatever he was flying at a high, you know, at a fast pace. But he did say that there was something unusual about the situation. That much we know is true so far. Let's go.
And this was day 2. I'm trying to think of the most respectful way to say it. The body did not seem at that height to be disproportionate to the way it should look. Now, I could not get a good look at his face. So I was really looking at, you know, his back of his legs, back of his arms. And so that was my vantage point. And I just want to stress to everybody that that's not an ideal vantage point. And plus I'm flying at like 90 knots. So, I mean, I'm going pretty fast.
Right there. He's already said that at 90 knots, he was flying pretty fast. Now, as I see the statements in the chat room, Harlem World Media, what's going on? Yeah, that's one of the running theories that people, now this is alleged. I'm only alleging, not saying it's facts, but that's one of the running theories that people believe maybe his body was brought back to the island. Maybe this happened somewhere else and it was brought back to the island. That is one of the running theories that's out there. Can't say it's a fact because we have not had any evidence that it was a fact. And even the video, I mean, not the video, but the footage, not the footage, but the picture of Nolan Wells in a pool at a pool party, that's already been debunked by Benjamin Crump's camp because they were the ones that put that out there saying that that was something that he did prior to 4th of July, because they're saying that those are friends of his that need to be questioned as well at some point in time. Now, let me go ahead and do this and show you one of the illustrations. So here go. So we already know Ben Crump gave a presentation about the results that the independent examiner looked at, but it was a lot of stuff was inconclusive. A lot of stuff was incomplete because that examiner, as I said before, didn't have certain parts of the body, such as the neck or the throat in particular, that doesn't make sense to me. But let's bear through. I'm going to play a little bit of this and then get to the video where Crump says that I think is very crucial here, where Crump makes the point that the examiner said that he would not rule out foul play, even though there's some sort of incomplete things that he was not able to examine because he didn't see the body when they first found the body. That's very crucial, right? Because remember, the body is already gone into post-mortem or whatever what they call that. They had to fly the body down to DC. So that this independent examiner didn't look at this body when it was first discovered. That makes a big difference too. And then, of course, as I said before, Mississippi has failed to didn't send those certain crucial body parts to this examiner, and I don't understand what that's all about. Let's go into this this video right here. Here we go. Autopsy.
Brain removal, Y-shaped incision of
just
the
a little bit of this
torso, and he talked about the organs being removed, as is common.
People scream. People screamed when he said that because I think a lot of people don't understand how forensics works. I know when I was in college, I took I was required to take a what do you call it? A anatomy class where we had to dissect real cadavers, real people. We had to mark where certain muscles were. That was a class that I did not enjoy taking at all, right? And it is pretty standard that when you do an autopsy, you do remove organs and then you do put the organs back for the next examiner or what have you. But in this case, they didn't give this examiner the lungs or the throat. That's very important, and you'll see why. I have a doctor that I'm going to play for you in a bit that's going to speak to that. And here we go.
In the body cavity. And that when you have an autopsy, the organs are removed from the body and they're dissected and examined. And then they're put back in a bag within inside the body. So when they're buried, their remains will all be with them. But in this occasion, if there's going to be a second autopsy, then the organs are put in the body cavity so the second pathologist could be able to examine the organs as well. Very significant for Dr. Mitchell was that the anterior inner neck structures were absent, not received with the body. And we'll explain that in just a minute. And then it talks about the additional procedures performed during the second autopsy, and we'll go into the paragraphs on that there because he explains it better in his narrative. So where's the first page of the discussion? Not the diagram yet. You keep the diagram over there.
If you don't want your face damaged by the sun, this hat seriously blocks out all the sunlight. It's like literally walking around with an umbrella over your head and
beach bag. Take it on the following so many times.
Several limitations during the second autopsy that create barriers to establishing a definitive cause and manner of death for Nolan Xavier Wells. And that's important. He talks about the fact that we didn't get to see the body when it was first recovered, like the medical examiner working for Mississippi would have seen it. He talked about the second autopsy performed on Nolan Wells revealed marked decompensation or changes. Marked decompensation can obscure the presence and absence of bruising on the skin surface, especially during a second autopsy examination. What he's saying.
I want to stop it right there. So you heard a little bit of what Ben Crump. I personally think, and let me know what you think in the chat room, that I don't understand for the life of me why they did not fly that doctor out to the NAACP convention and have him explain this. I think he would have I think the doctor would have gave a better presentation. Because the doctor would be more familiar with the material. Why did they let Ben Crump? We know that Ben Crump isn't the best when it comes to presentation. So why did they let Ben Crump talk on these things? He did the best he could. I get it, but it would have been more effective. I think it would have been more effective if you're really trying to prove something here to have the actual doctor. Maybe the doctor had another engagement. I don't know. But with all this talk about money that they're putting into supporting the family, damn it, they should have had enough money to get that doctor out there. Or they could have had the doctor give a video presentation or something, which I think would have been more effective. You let me know what you think. Let me get to the autopsy video that I think is the video that really, I think, speaks to what I want you all to really hear. Check this out.
And he did not know whether he was forced into the water or unforced into the water. He said that would be significant. So he said the condition of Nolan Wells before he entered the water would be the crux of the matter. It would be of utmost importance.
But the point is, Ben Crump, your independent examiner can't tell you if or not. Part of the reason why everybody, we got to just make this very simple, is because he didn't get a chance to examine that body at the time that they found that body. He got the body when it's already starting to go into its phases. That puts your independent examiner at a very deep disadvantage. And it's exactly what those folks in Mississippi were betting on, unfortunately. Let's continue.
Being able to determine a cause and manner of death.
Thank you. John DeMajor, you agree with me. What's going on, India Love? How you doing, Sister Kitty? Good to see you, Kitty. Kitty G, good to see you.
The manner of death.
Okay, here we go.
For these reasons, this pathologist cannot rule out. And let me
move that back. This is the part that I wanted y'all to hear. We don't need to hear all of this, but this is the part right here. Let me continue.
definitive circumstances of death are required to determine the manner of death. For these reasons, this pathologist cannot rule out, and let me really call your attention to this. For these reasons, this pathologist cannot rule out if any intervening non-accidental factors contributed to or caused the death of Nolan Wells. Understand.
You hear what he's saying? So he's saying that he can't rule it out. He's not saying it's a fact right now because he was at a disadvantage when he got the body. But he's saying that he's not ruling out that there could have been foul play as it relates to Nolan Xavier Wells. That he's not ruling it out. Let's continue.
He said based on the examination of the body, he cannot rule out foul play. That is significant.
Yes, it is significant.
With the following questions still outstanding, number one, what were the circumstances that led to Nolan Xavier Wells entering the water? Number two, what was the body position when it was found? We know that a member of the United Cajun Navy said that he was face down and he was fully clothed.
Now, the Cajun Navy rescuer said that he didn't agree with what Ben Crump said there about him being fully clothed. Now, I think that Ben Crump, when he said that, was just simply saying fully clothed, meaning he had his swim trunks on because it was a hot day. They weren't out there with jackets on, they weren't out there with jeans and all that stuff on. So I think that's a misstep. I think that's just a little bit of a boo-boo on Crump's part to say he was fully clothed when he probably meant to say, hey, he had his trunks, he had what he came there with on his person, at least in terms of the clothes, because the Navy, the Cajun Navy rescuer who I just played did say what Crump said, that he was unusually facing down. He was in an unusual position when his body bloated up. Let's continue. That's just semantics right there, but I just wanted to put that out there.
Number three, where's there water in the airway? Remember, he talked about the lungs and the airways.
But this is the problem, everybody. This is the problem right there. The reason why the examiner has to say, was there water in the lungs? He's simply saying, was there, because as I said before in the description of this video, they didn't send, the examiners in Mississippi did not send the lungs. They did not send the throat or the neck, what we call it. And that's a problem, that this independent examiner never got a chance to look at the lungs for himself or the throat area, the neck area. That's a problem. Why did the Mississippi Sheriff's Department, their examiners, why did they do that? I believe, just my personal belief, they did it on purpose to put them at a disadvantage because they automatically had the advantage because they were the ones that found the body. And therefore, they could create whatever narrative they want. And you know why I'm saying this? They can create whatever narrative they want because why? Sheriff John Ledbetter already had jumped out the window and told everybody before they even examined the body that it was no foul play, that this was just a basic drowning, which is why the mother didn't appreciate, the family did not appreciate what they said about her son. Did not appreciate it at all. Because why? You're on their turf. They can manipulate it the way they want to manipulate it. That's why he felt comfortable saying exactly what he said. Let's go.
Water. Number four, is there any evidence of injuries to the anterior neck structure? We got the autopsy without his neck. We
See?
got the body without his neck at the time of the second.
That's a problem, ladies and gentlemen. That is a problem. I've been saying this throughout this whole stream. That's a problem. You get this illustration right here. I blew this up. He had a red discoloration in soft tissue. That's the issue that was brought up about how did he get that injury? Was that from a fall? Was that from a blunt object that he got hit with? Was that from someone that he got into a fight with? Where did he get that from? Was that him falling back into the water? Did he hit his head on the boat? What? We don't know, because they're telling us that thousands and hundreds of people were out there, but didn't nobody see nothing? Nolan Wells classification diagram. Red, I'm showing y'all it in real time here. Red discoloration, soft tissue, front and back. Exhibit 1. Ben Crump, trial lawyer for justice. Well, you better get this justice right, brother. So that's a problem. Sent to them without the throat. That puts the examiner at a big disadvantage. Listen.
Some injuries to the anterior neck structure. We got the autopsy without his neck.
Damn.
We got the body without his neck at the time of the second
That
autopsy.
ain't right. That ain't right.
Number 5, is there any evidence of any intracranial hemorrhaging? He said that is going to be very significant. Things that he could not observe at autopsy.
So you see on the sketches here, once again, we talked about the area, which was an interesting area where there was redness, the top part of the skull, the bottom. Then you have the illustration here where it says bottom. On the far left, it has written left. And then you have the front face, the back. This is the full illustration that Attorney Crump and his people presented. I'm showing y'all on this channel.
And he did not know whether he was in Navy, said that he was face down and he was fully clothed.
No, fully clothed, meaning he had the shorts on. Let me move this up. I think I hit something that pushed it back. Sorry about that.
And the airways where they fill with water. Number 4, is there any evidence of injuries to the anterior neck structure? We got the autopsy without his neck. We got the body without his neck.
I'm just going to let it play.
Second autopsy.
Okay.
Number 5, is there any evidence of any intracranial hemorrhaging? He said that is going to be very significant. Things that he could not observe at autopsy that the initial medical examiner would have been able to observe. Number 6 was the composition of what was the composition of the stomach contents. He talks about that being important because when was he found? How long had he been in the water? How long had it been since his last meal? All those things become relevant factors when you're trying to do a thorough and impartial autopsy. And number 7, what are the toxicology report findings?
There it is, everybody. I want you to give your opinions, your thoughts in the chat room. Another CG, thank you for being here. India authorities prematurely deemed no foul play is what causes this case to turn now. Let's see what the FBI investigation concludes. You're absolutely right. B1 Night Riders in the house checking in. Another CG says they need to pull the GPS records of all the boats that day, the next day. Right, and let me put this up. I'm glad you said that because remember this right here. According to the GPS data, the boats left Horn Island at 4:31 p.m. and returned to its original departure dock. It then traveled into Fort Bayou around 5:52 p.m. before returning to the dock at 6:06 p.m. Later that evening, the boat went to Fort Bayou Boat Launched at 7:19 p.m. according to the MSDMR report. From there, it traveled over land towed by a vehicle, because remember they said one of the boats took on water, to the Biloxi, Mississippi residence of the boat owner. The MSDMR report indicated that the boat owner, his mother, and one other individual was reported with whales on the day. They were with whales on the day of the incident, have cooperated with investigators. Okay, but why is it that everybody keeps saying that they saw him here and saw him there, but then all of a sudden did nobody see him when something happened to him? That's the fishy part that I'm trying to get to. That's the part that don't make sense to me. Let me let you hear from this is Dr. Frida. She has a YouTube channel. She is a real medical examiner, a real medical doctor. She is certified in medicine. She ain't no just somebody on social media who putting out fake credentials like a Cheyenne Bryan or something like that. She legitimate. She was on Don Lemon's show, and I clipped this focusing just on her and what she had to say. She's going to get a little bit from a medical expert. She's going to get into the reason why the neck is significant, that they didn't have the neck and the lungs and all that sort of stuff. She sees it as very problematic. Watch this.
Death, the manner of death are undetermined. These are the things that stuck out to me, Don and Monique. That lesion on the back of the head. So occipital region, yes, that's in the very back of the head. And there was a red lesion, 12 centimeters by 8 centimeters, I believe. And we don't know the cause, though he did dissect it, Dr. Mitchell did, but it makes you think of the possibilities. Could there have been blunt force trauma? Was this a bruise? Is this just a post-mortem finding, meaning did just, blood and fluid collect there after his death? There are key things he also mentioned there. He said that there was no fracture, but the most important missing information from that red lesion on the back of Nolan's head is that we don't know what the brain showed. Did he have an intracranial hemorrhage? Was there a trauma that caused him to bleed? And was that the cause?
You hear what the doctor is saying?
Know, therefore, it's undetermined. But I do love the way Dr. Mitchell shared what he could determine, what he couldn't determine, because again, he had the second autopsy. Someone had no.
Now, I do agree with what you're saying, Rob. What's going on? You said these experts that still don't know as much as the common man, but I did not. How and when did the Nolan even get in the water? Well, we don't know that because we weren't there and nobody is talking. See, that's part of the problem, that I don't feel that we're getting full transparency. But what this doctor is saying right here, Dr. Frida, she's talking about the medical examination and how it's weird not to have certain body parts for the examiner Dr. Mitchell to examine.
Nolan's body first, the Mississippi medical examiners. The other thing that was of the greatest significance to me, almost jumped out of my seat, because I'll tell you, right before coming on with you, I had a discussion with my father, Dr. Freddie McCray, who's a retired general and peripheral vascular surgeon who has done autopsies, who's been in medicine for decades. And so we were just kind of chit-chatting about autopsies, the way that our father and daughter conversations go. And what I said to him, I said, I'm really curious to see that hyoid bone. And he was like, yeah, I want to see the anterior neck. Anterior means the front of this part. And so he was like, yeah, I want to see what the anterior neck showed so we can see if there's any ligatures. And so we were talking. So that was the main thing I was listening for. Okay. The anterior neck. And so to find that there was an absence of the part of Nolan's body that could have given us some of the most critical information, whether it said that harm was done or no harm was done. I was looking to see the hyoid bone because had it been displaced, had it been broken, then that could be consistent with some type of a choking or pressure on the neck or an asphyxiation, okay? And then had the hyoid bone been completely intact, that would give us different information, extremely significant information. And I find it highly suspicious that that very critical part of the medical
Yes.
examination is missing.
Yes.
The neck is missing. Also, like I said, I want to see, are there ligature marks? Was there something around his neck where was there bruising? All of that could have been answered by giving us the information of what's going on with the larynx, the trachea, all of the breathing apparatus in the front of the neck. It's missing.
Mhm.
We need answers. This
Right.
is suspicious.
You see what she's saying,
And
folks?
the lungs. From the very beginning, we had the officer saying, oh yeah, it looks like it was a drowning. It looks like it was a drowning. We should have been able to find the information, because had there been a drowning,
This
there
fool
would
right
have been
here said
evidence
that.
of fluid water going into that anterior neck we're missing and going into the lungs, a water-filled lungs. However, had Nolan already been deceased before his body hit the water, that epiglottis, that connection between the throat and the lungs would have been closed, and his lungs would not have been filled with water. And so we need to know what the lungs show. And a medical examiner, a pathologist, will be able to tell the difference between, say, drug overdose, which, you hear all kinds of internet sleuths talk about. We would have been able to tell the difference. And,
See?
but it's
You
not
see
just,
what she's saying? You see what she's saying? She's making a lot of more sense. And this is why they should have had, even if they couldn't have gotten Dr. Mitchell physically there to explain his results, they should have gotten someone like Dr. Frieda to get on that stage and at least make some sense of it. She's making a lot of sense here. And another CG, you said something that made sense. I want to hear the excuses why they did not include all the body parts. That's what I want to know. Something about it is not kosher. Let's continue.
What was found. It's also what was not found. Dr. Mitchell went through and said that he carefully dissected, the buttocks, the legs, the chest, the arms. He was so detailed, and he let us know what he did not find, that he did not find any broken bones, no fractured bones, that he did not find any evidence, at least in this postmortem state, of any bruises. And so I appreciate that, because it lets us know that this is not some biased gotcha moment. Let me only tell you things that are intriguing to the media. He went through and systematically did what an excellent pathologist will do. He'll tell you all of the findings. And so now we have a bruise in the back of the head. We have a missing neck. We don't know the condition of the lungs. And also we already were at a disadvantage, because it was 4th of July or the 6th of July. We're not sure when he passed away, but that the water would have been warm in Mississippi. That would have accelerated decomposure. And so this was an examination done with many limitations, but Dr. Roger.
Now, that's a part that we have to recognize, that this doctor, as I said this earlier to you in this stream, that the Dr. Mitchell, his name, had a disadvantage, because as my man, another CG said in the chat room, what's the excuse that they're going to give for not making sure that they had all the other parts of his body, of Nolan's body, that could be examined? What is the excuse that's going to be given, and why? And see, this is what I mean when I say they've got the home turf. They got the home field advantage to manipulate this situation. And that's what scares me. And we're talking about Mississippi. And we're talking about a sheriff who, you saw the interview, the young lady that came up on him, that's a reporter, saying that, hey, you guys seem like y'all not taking people's calls, or you're not reporting what's going on. You're not meeting with the media. You're not talking to us. Because they got hometown cooking on their side, folks. Ben Crump and all the folks that have come on board for the family, it has, no matter what we think about Ben Crump, what we think about, Al Sharp, they're not big fans of them, but their presence has brought a sort of national attention to this case. But this is the disadvantage that they're at. This is what the disadvantage that the family is at right now. Even though they live in Mississippi, the sheriff's department and the law enforcement of Mississippi, they got the hometown cooking here, meaning they got everything to their advantage to really make this look like it wasn't no foul play. When you have a DA, and I talked about her before, Judge Carlos Moore, who I'm going to play a clip of from him today, said that this woman doesn't have a great record when it comes to people that look like us as a DA. They had to go to her. They had to talk to her because she, and the sheriff's department, and the DA, the whole law enforcement institution out there in Jackson County is not giving this family a square deal, and they've said it out of their own mouth. I'm not making up anything because the family is saying it. Now I want to let y'all hear my man Big Mac. You see him on Instagram, you see him on TikTok. He's out of Oakland. He's a brother who speaks his mind, and apparently, I guess he's a nurse, or I think he works in the medical field, because he said that he's done plenty of autopsy examinations of this nature, and he said something ain't right. Check out, you can find Big Mac all over your social media, your Instagrams, your TikTok. But he said something here that I thought he put it where the goats could get it. He told the truth. Let's go ahead and hear him.
Tell the truth.
I've done hundreds of autopsies on infants, toddlers, young teens, young adults, senior citizens, obese, morbidly obese, different ethnicities, suicides, murders, accidents, natural causes. I've done them all. So when you tell me there was an absence of the interior structure of the neck, my question is why and where is it? Was it recovered with the remains, or were the remains like this when you retrieve the remains?
You hear him.
What part of his neck is missing?
Uh-oh.
Has the soft tissue been preserved?
He's asking, this man works in the medical field, and I didn't even know this. I follow him on Instagram. I think he has a TikTok, and he always does these videos where he sits down in his couch at home. He gives a look at the camera. He's a pretty muscular, pretty big dude. And then he'll give his commentary. His commentary be on point. But he made a good point. What condition was the tissues? The tissue, his tissue. How did he get the injury? He can say it better than me.
Neck is missing. Has the soft tissue been preserved?
Good point.
Or did the water damage or anything else disrupt what could possibly be used as information to find out the cause of death? Because if his neck is missing, then what caused his injury?
Right.
The structural integrity of the neck, unless it was decapitated or dealt severe trauma, should be intact. But where's the portion of his neck? The interior, the inside of his neck is missing. Why?
Why? The brother is saying this, the interior part of Nolan Wells' neck is missing in their examination, that the independent examination did not get the opportunity to get these body parts. And he asked very fundamental questions. Why? Why?
What can cause that type of damage to the neck and then the trauma to the back of the head?
Mm-hmm.
Did they strike him in the back of the head and stab him? Or did they shoot him in the neck? Right? And he falls back and he hits his head. In which case, in my humblest opinion, he was murdered.
Now, we know that murder is a legal term, but this is, once again, he said in his humble opinion. He didn't say it was a fact. He said it was his opinion. I want to thank the House of Entertainment for coming over. I want to thank DOD for coming over. Grand Rob, Share, thank you for coming over. India for coming over, thank you. You say, why hasn't the toxicology report been released yet? Now, that's another question that you're making sense, sister. You're making good sense. Very good point. Where is the toxicology? Check this out, though, India. The family should have that information before us. And remember, I hate to replay this again. Maybe some of you weren't here when I played this video, but remember, the mother said these statements here. Remember, she said this. I want y'all to hear it again, just a little bit of it. Here we go.
I sent him a text message.
Talking about
I
the
was like, hey,
sheriffs.
this is Christine, Nolan's mom. I just want to see if there are any updates. Basically, he called back. There were no updates. He's like, we're still interviewing. And again, my concern, and also my husband's concern, was it was not even an hour that his body had been removed. And the sheriff came out and said, this is, accidental drowning. We don't think there's foul play. Again, that is why we're doing what we're doing and why we're moving the way we are.
All right. I just wanted to play that again as a reminder of where we are in this situation, this horrible circumstance, this horrible situation. Now, let me go back to where we are. We just got finished listening to my man Big Matt. We already listened to the examiner that I talked about who worked with the Cajun Navy and said that there was some unusual things when they found his body. But, sometimes I can't stomach Nancy Grace, but this time I can, because she did a show, and she had people on her show, and she had the guy from the Cajun Navy, and she had a doctor on, but she said something that really made my antennas go up in the way she handled the show and her guests on the show. Thank you, Miranda, for the super chat. I appreciate that.
Thank you for the super chat.
Most definitely your support. We appreciate that. The $3 super chat is wonderful. What's most important is that you're here, you're watching, you're supporting. You are engaged in what's happening, what's going on. Hatchet Dragon, Grand Poo Rob, where's my share? DOD, Afro Punk Chick is in the house. Appreciate you. House of Entertainment. Black Spider says a good lawyer would be demanding them body parts and intimidating and immediately release of the toxicology report. You said that. I had another sister in the chat room, India, say the same thing. Let me give y'all a clap for that, because you all are talking facts. We got my man NSL in the house. Thank you for being here. I'm trying to put the super chat that you gave me up, but I don't see it in my system. But I want to thank you for that. Again, I give you a thanks.
Thank you for the super
for that
chat.
super chat, and I appreciate that. Let's get back, because I don't want to keep you guys, I don't want to go too late here. I appreciate you already being here at this time of the evening. Let's go back into this area right here, because the cop has already got handled by that sister. That was for those of you who came in late, make sure y'all watch the replay, because there was a sister from Louisiana who was a reporter that snuck up on the sheriff, kind of caught him off guard, and was like, hey, I came down here before, and they said that you were busy, that you couldn't meet with me. Then she asked him, are you going to put out any information? And he kept saying, are you trying to get a soundbite clip on me? So you could tell that they are trying to avoid the media. They're trying to avoid something here. But let me let you listen to Nancy Grace, because something that she did on the show, I thought really, she got the Cajun Navy rescuer to admit to something. Check this out.
Joining us, Dr. Kendall Crowns. He is the
Okay, we
chief
got Dr.
medical
Kendall right
examiner
here.
of Tarrant County, Fort Worth. Literally thousands and thousands and thousands of autopsies under his belt. He is the esteemed lecturer at the Burnett School of Medicine at TCU. I don't have to explain to you what it takes to become not just a medical examiner, but the chief medical examiner in a metropolitan area like Fort Worth. All that aside, COD, MOD, undetermined. But what jumped out at me, among so many things, Dr. Kendall Crowns, what does he mean about the red discoloration in the deep, soft tissues
Deep, soft tissue.
overlaying the occipital bones.
Occipital bones.
What is that? Translate.
Occipital bones.
So what if that is the occipital bone is the bone in this is your skull. It's the bone in the back of your head, the directly back side of your head. So when he's describing these hemorrhages in the deep, soft tissues, it means deep in the musculature that holds your head in place, there is a red discoloration. What could this be? It could be settling of the blood from decomposition or from lividity, cooling of the blood. The body has been kind of put on its back and transported to Washington, D.C. So that could be that. It could also be
Trust
blunt
me,
force
I don't
injuries.
think I know more than you on this, Dr. Kendall Crowns, but you got me drinking out of the fire hydrant. You're giving me so much information. I had to break in right there because you said I'm going to quote, posterior red discoloration in deep soft tissue overlying occipital. Deep soft tissue. To a layperson like me, that means it's deep below the skin. And you just stated that could be from the settling of the blood. In other words, if he were lying on his back when he died, the blood would settle to the back of
Facts.
his head.
That's true what she's saying.
But isn't it true to you, Brian Trasher, Vice President, United Cajun Navy?
Okay, listen.
The Navy participated in the search, and I got...
This is the guy who said he found Nolan's body in an unusual situation. She got him to admit something in the way she went about it. Check it out.
to clear up that whole thing about fully clothed with you. That said,
right.
Isn't it true? And I'm looking at the picture on my phone that I got from an undisclosed source. I'm looking at Nolan's body on the beach. We are not showing it. He's face down, isn't he?
Face down, ladies and gentlemen, and the Cajun rescuer is admitting it. Watch.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, he was when we flew
Okay, I'm
over,
going to come back to you about the clothing.
Yeah.
What? Repeat?
No, I said when we observed him from the air, yeah, he was face down and he was wearing swim trunks and only swim trunks. I think that the term fully clothed just got taken out of context.
Right. Attorney Crump had made that statement about him being fully clothed and people just went buck wild over it. Let's just keep it real. His clothing was his swimming trunks for the most part, but people took it all out of context. And this is why Attorney Crump has to make sure that he says things that are factual, because he's got this family in his hands right now that they're relying on him to present case properly. But this is all semantics right now. And the bottom line is we still haven't gotten the truth about what happened to Nolan. But right here, she got him to further concede what I think he already had before, that he was lying face down, but yet he had blood in the back. Or let me be correct, using the illustrations, he had red discoloration in the soft tissue area of the back of that skull area. And here's another illustration to see. Let's go ahead and see what they further say here.
Well, when you look at the body from high up, it appears at first like he had on a shirt with swim trunks, but he does not have on a shirt. He only has on swim trunks. That's a whole peripheral issue. But back to Dr. Kendall Crowns. So, Dr. Kendall Crowns, you may have an explanation for this. I've already thought of one, and I'm not a medical examiner, but I don't see how the deep red, I'm talking about, was there a blow to the back of the head? Did he fall off a boat? Did he hit his head on something else? If it turns out he drowned, how did he get in the water? Why was he in the water? Why did everybody leave him?
That is the question that's the $1 million question, y'all. That's the $1 million question. If he got back in the boat and then all of a sudden he drowned later, why did everybody leave him? And even if his so-called individuals that claim to be his friend who didn't show up for his funeral, they said, or that guy Hudson said when he got interviewed by Tate, the buck dancer, he said that there were thousands of people that day, that it wasn't like they were on some stranded island. It was thousands of people, 100 people out there. Well, if it was so many people out there, why didn't anybody see Nolan when he was going through what he went through? Because they're going to tell you that there was no foul play. And if there was no foul play, because they're going to say, well, nobody saw a fight, nobody saw anything go down. Well, then why didn't anybody see this young man drown if the sheriff is talking about he drowned? Why didn't anybody see this if it was thousands of people out there? And remember, they found him on the north end of Horn Island. They found him right here at the north tip, right? Body found at the northwest tip of Horn Island. So he was way down there where you see that arrow at. Tatum, in his interview, and I'm going to play some of that for you, claimed that it was they were thousands of people on the island that day. So there was not, so that that Nolan wasn't in an isolated situation. Well, why is it that nobody saw what happened to Nolan? Why is it that everybody made it back home but Nolan? Somebody tell me something.
Lots of questions tonight. But if he was found face down, the blood would not have settled to the back of his occipital.
Well, that's correct at the initial autopsy.
Boom. And that's why people are running with the theories about, did his body get moved from somewhere else to there? Did this incident happen somewhere else and his body got moved out there? Who knows? That's a very good point. If he was found face down, why does he have blood to the back in his occipio, as they're calling it, or as it is? Let's go.
But he was also transported to Washington, D.C. On his back, I assume, not on his face. And so after death, you can still have pooling of the blood in the dependent areas if the lividity is not fixed, or even if it is fixed, you can have pooling. So
the doctor's saying that maybe when they transported his body, this is how he got it. But how would we not know when they probably didn't even see? This is what I mean by they have the hometown cooking. They have the hometown advantage. Because if this is true, how do we know this is true when the family probably didn't get a chance to see his body when they first discovered his body? See what I'm saying? We don't know how the sheriff's department handled his body. We don't know that. It's easy for the doctor here to say, well, maybe when they transported him to DC. No, what were they doing with his body when they got him? Did they cause these? Could they have caused this in their transporting his body? Or did this happen because there was some foul play? I'm just asking the questions because clearly something is weird here.
it is difficult to say without seeing the actual reddened area in the deep soft tissue, whether this is just a decompositional artifact or if it's indeed blunt force trauma. Now, they're not describing any injuries to the skin surface, which would still be there if he was, even if he's decomposed, you would still see injuries, abrasions, bruises, lacerations, things of that nature, even with decomposition. So it's difficult to give significance to this deep red area in the musculature of the deep soft tissues of the back of the head without further photographs or more information.
Now, I'm glad he said that because Dr. Mitchell, the independent examiner, did not get a chance. They didn't even send him pictures to be able to see what Nolan looked like when they first found his body. Another thing I want to know is Nancy Grace, or whatever the hell her name is on this show. She said that she had a picture of Nolan's body on her damn cell phone and that she wasn't going to show it on this show because out of respect, right? But then this is the question I got to ask everybody in the chat room and everybody listening to this video. Why the hell does Nancy Grace, if she's telling the truth, because she could be just talking just to hype up her own show. But if she does have a picture of Nolan in the way he was positioned, why is it that she has that, but the public hasn't seen it? Right? Has the sheriff's department in Mississippi released such pictures? And if they have, why is it that if they haven't, why does she have a picture? And who sent it to her? Because if what she's saying is true, that means somebody in the inside sent that picture to her. And the question is, did the family get photographs to see what their son looked like? Because if she has a picture of Nolan, according to her, the family should damn well have those pictures or a picture as well of what he looked like when they found him. Just food for thought, everybody, food for thought.
To me, could it be blunt force trauma? Yes. Could it be a decompositional artifact? Yes. Could it be something from transport? Yes. Hard to say at this point.
Let me let you see the other video. Nancy Gray.
Let me pull it back up. We are not showing this photo. Do not show it, control room.
But how did you get your hands? See, I have a problem with this right now. I do like the way she got the rescuer, the Navy Cajun, the guy that runs it, got him to admit some things here, or at least reinforce what he had said before. But my question is, look, if she's got the photo and the photo shows that there's something strange, then I'm glad that she's putting it out there to let the public know that there's something unusual about the way way they found his body. But the question I have to say again, how did she get this photo? Especially if the family doesn't have this photo, and especially if the authorities, because they've been tight-lipped, haven't released such footage. Does the family have what she claims that she has? I'm just wondering.
Brian, again, United Cajun Navy searched for and spotted Nolan's body. Tell me what was seen. Let's see some of that aerial video.
Yeah, so we were flying over the northwest tip of Horn Island after about 2 hours in the air, canvassing a pretty large area, when we noticed some law enforcement boats converging to the northwest tip. We descended, circled around, and saw a number of law enforcement personnel on the beach, and then you could see a body laying at the shoreline. Of course, using a zoom lens to go in, we could see that the body matched the description of Nolan Wells. The whole thing about Ben Crump mentioning that we told the parents he was fully clothed, that's not true. We never told the parents that. He was wearing just the swim trunks that matched the description that in the missing.
That's pretty obvious because that's what he was wearing. It was a hot day. He wasn't out there with full clothes. So Benjamin Crump has to be completely transparent with the family of what he's saying and what he's putting out there in the media. But it still does not negate the fact that the sheriff's department isn't telling us anything either. And then again, how did Nancy Gray get this so-called picture that she claims to have?
Person's report, and it matched the photos that were taken of him that day. And that was all he was presumed. That's all he was wearing.
Brian, I want to show some video. Oh, there it is. I hope you can see your monitor. That is from our friends over at TMZ. It's a video that I believe is Nolan Wells. And I can tell you from looking at the...
I'm going to tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, that's Nolan Wells. I've seen somebody even do a digital enhancement of that. And I think I should have did that same thing myself. I think that's Nolan Wells. He has the same body structure, same colored trunks on. This is a video that's been going around lately, and people believe that that's actually him. And I believe that that's him too as well. Let me just let this play.
And I want to show some video. Oh, there it is. I hope you can see your monitor. That is from our friends over at TMZ.
Yeah, TMZ put this together. I think that's him. I believe that it's him. What do you all think in the chat room? Do you believe that this is Nolan?
It's a video that I believe is Nolan Wells. And I can tell you from looking at the aerial photo, I've zoomed in on it, Those appear to be the same pants that he was wearing when his body was found.
Right.
His body,
It is. I think that's him. I believe that's him.
it looks like it just washed up on shore.
Right.
Now,
That's correct.
regarding COD, yeah, when you look at it way up, it looks like he's wearing a shirt. But when you zoom in, you see he's not wearing a shirt.
Right.
Nor
Right. Something still isn't adding up with this whole situation, ladies and gentlemen. I've got some more stuff for you. Don't go nowhere, because I put this show together to really give you some food of thought to think about what's really going on here. That to me, I feel like it's foul play. I feel like we're not getting the full story. The family's getting a runaround. Nobody, even in the media, has really been able to answer the most important answers. The autopsy report that Ben Crump put out there still has a level of incompleteness to it that still, I think, bothers me. You've got this judge here. Remember, her son is the one that decided to go out on podcasts and run his mouth, yet they have not formally apologized to the family. As far as we know, the family hasn't said they've been apologized to or that they've been given any condolences, right? Now, they say here the department we're cooperating fully with the authorities. She said that her son Hudson saw Nolan last at around 3 p.m. on July 4th. They left at around 4:30 p.m. But you're going to hear Tatum say that they left at 4 and left him behind. There's some inconsistencies here, right? When the boat was taken on water, they had an issue with the pump. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island. Another thing that's a blockbuster that I just read today, that's a blockbuster, or that's a disturbing situation, is that they kept saying that there was a girl. I had this girl and this girl. This is what I had mixed up. I thought that this was the girl that he stayed on the island to talk to. This is Katie Diaz. She's the one that gave the phone to Nolan Wales' best friend's mother, who has a friendship with Nolan Wales' mother. There she is right there with her son, Jelani. I think this is Jelani Williams, who is the true, real best friend of Nolan Wales. Because remember, this guy right here, Trish, this guy right here came out and said a friend of Nolan Wales says that nobody would ever hurt him. The family, the mother said, we don't know this dude. We don't know him from a can of Ajax. We don't know who he is. If he's supposed to be our son's best friend, why is it that we don't know him? We didn't even know his name. I thought that was highly suspicious in the way that kid came out. And I think it was highly suspicious how all these people that's talking, they had the black football coach, who's the coach of the football team. They had him talking. They got him out. He was on TMZ talking. You got everybody talking, but the folks that he went out there with, except for the one white boy who jumped out the window, decided to go talk to a podcaster, so to go talk to Nolan Wales' family. And that's that guy, Warren Hudson, who is the stepson of the judge. And I had said that before. That's her stepson who put out those statements. And we saw the map. I brought this up here before, the map of where he was at. I showed you the judge, her message that she put out there trying to defend her son or her stepson. Here he is with Tatum, who is one of the biggest buck dancers on social media. He sits up there and he wants to back the story. He wants to back the story, their stories. This man, look, I got to say this. This man Tatum didn't go to the family. He's so busy trying to prove that there was no racial situation, that Nolan didn't get harmed in any kind of way, that there was no foul play because these are such great friends of Nolan. The same great friends who didn't show up for his funeral, didn't talk to his family, and some of them held on to his personal items, and the family had to go look for them to get those items back when they were lying to the family member. The father got lied to. The mother's friend got lied to at first. She said she had to wait 15 minutes. They was acting strange. If they were so-called friends, why didn't they go back out there to the island and do a search themselves? Huh? See, nobody's brought that up. Why, if they were so in love with Nolan Wells, if he was the beloved black kid, the black guy on the trip, why didn't they later go back to the island and do a search themselves? Why didn't they reach out to the family first and bring his belongings to the family? I want to know why, because Tatum, you're going to see how he tries to frame this. I want all of you buck dancers, I want all of you folks out there that's trying to say, oh, these white folks was good white folks. I want all of y'all to answer these fundamental questions. If they cared about Nolan, why didn't they show up to the funeral? 2, why didn't they contact the family, give back belongings like the cell phone to the family? Why did the family have to hunt them down? Why did the family see the GPS, the 360, because they had his phone? You're going to hear them talking about how, oh, it's normal to go on the island and leave your phone on the boat. Nobody gets off the boat with the phone unless you're taking pictures and so on and so forth. Okay, but yet everybody left his phone. Okay, if that's true, that his phone was on the boat and they took the phones and all that stuff with them, why didn't they go, once they found out that something happened to Nolan, why didn't they go straight to the family and give their condolence and talk to the family, hug them, console them, and their families as well? Nobody did it. Even this so-called judge who claimed to have gone to high school with her, this judge right here, I think this is the one right here. There we go. She claimed to have gone to high school with Nolan's mother. You haven't heard her make a statement about, we're going to go meet with the family, we're going to go console the family. Nobody. They keep saying she said that she took her son off of social media. Read this right here. I want y'all to see this right here. I will make a point because it shows the hypocrisy. She says here, yes, I am the judge. I'm a judge. I also value transparency. I apologize if anyone was offended that I deleted my social media. There was no motivation by deleting my social media. Social media has a lot of positive, but a whole lot of negative. We live in a world of clickbait, sad but true. My family is hoping that the information will help to redirect the attention. Wells' family is grieving, right? She also talked about here, yes, we deactivated my Facebook given the very heightened emotional state of social media right now. I fear for the safety of my children and my children, safety of my family, of my child, which will be Hudson, and my children. Okay, if y'all so concerned about social media and you're so concerned about people coming at you, then why do you go on Tatum's YouTube channel? That's social media. You have no problem coming out and talking to social media, but you haven't talked to the family. You didn't even say when you did the interview with Tatum, I want to give my condolence to to Nolan Wells' mother and father and family. I want to say I'm sorry about what happened to their son. I want to apologize for not going straight to them to talk to them. And right? But yet he comes to Tatum because he got 1 million subscribers on his channel. I want y'all to make that make sense. How does that make sense to go on a social media platform that Tatum has when you're supposed to be taking yourself off of social media, according to your mama? Check this video out, his interview with Tatum.
We had roughly 20 to 30 people coming on 3 separate boats with us. And so we were all following each other out there as one big group, 20 or 30 people spread out, where we all met at the dock before, and then we departed to go to Horn Island. It wasn't just, there were so many people, we had to split up between 3 boats, and we all left and all got there at the same time. So, I mean, Horn Island on the 4th of July is the most popular day to be on the water on, you know, the throughout the entire Gulf Coast. Roughly, probably 2 to 3, maybe even
Yeah, they're trying to
4,000
push a
people out there.
narrative, DOD.
There were
Y'all
boats lined up off the island. I mean, there was one row of boats, and then there was another row of boats, and then there was a third row of boats.
Yeah.
I mean, there was people lined up all up and down the island.
Okay.
We were parked on the north side, on the west tip. It wasn't just there, but just where we were, I mean, there was easily 1,000 people. It wasn't.
So this is a question that needs to be answered, because you're going to see Tatum in further videos that I have really play that part up. If there were thousands of people, all these people, did nobody see what happened to Nolan? Did nobody come to his rescue? Did nobody stay back to help find him? When they all left the island and found out that he was still missing, didn't nobody think about going back to the island to do a search for him, all these so-called friends? And then once again, if there were thousands and hundreds of people on this island, why didn't anybody see Nolan? Why is it that he's the only one that had a situation and everybody else made it back safely and sound to get in their beds at night?
Just us. Nolan was on Wyatt Pyron's 22 Triton on the way out.
Now, at one point in the interview, Warren would go on to express that he felt Nolan appeared fine every time they would speak on the island that day.
You know, I had a couple conversations with Nolan that day, and I talked to him and a couple of my other buddies. They in a group. I was not focused on anyone solely, like looking and pointing anyone out. I mean, I was talking to my friends that I haven't seen in a while from high school. I was talking from people I knew from college. I was talking to, you know, everybody my age and even people older. I mean, it was just a regular thing. You know, we're all used to this. We've been out to the islands before. My buddies don't just go out to the island on 4th of July, but they go out, you know, every weekend. I talked to Nolan, and, you know, Nolan was drinking. Everybody was drinking, most of everybody. And I mean, Nolan seemed completely fine.
Let me stop this right here. I said this in the other video. The Cajun Navy rescuers said that when they found his body, they didn't believe that he was intoxicated with liquor in his, they didn't see it as he had been drunk with something. They said his blood levels did not seem like he had something like that. But you all said it correctly. Why is it that we don't have a toxicology report? Why didn't the family get that report? Why is it that the independent examiner that they hired, why haven't they been able to get that report? Why is the sheriff's department, why is the law enforcement department of this county, Jackson County, not put out that report? Surely they should have a toxicology report completed by now. Why didn't Crump's attorneys or his examiner get their hands on the toxicology report? What is going on? Now, while this boy is setting up here talking about how everybody had a good time and we were on this boat, he was on that boat, and people drunk a little bit, and there was thousands of people out there. The one thing you notice that Warren Hudson, that's his name. The one thing you notice he's not saying, everybody, the one thing he didn't say is, I want to apologize. I want to say I apologize for not reaching out to Nolan's family as soon as we found out what happened to Nolan. I want to apologize for not showing up to the funeral because you're claiming that you're a friend and the rest of you didn't show up. So what does that tell you? The only real friends that showed up for this thing is right here. That is Nolan Wales' best friend to the far left. I believe this is his brother to the right. They look like, I think they're brothers. I think Jelani Williams, if I'm saying the last name correctly, is the one who came out originally, got a little nervous, didn't want to get into the racial issues, but later on CNN said that Nolan would never leave his phone behind, that Nolan would never, he said it, y'all, that Nolan would never leave the group because he was taught to stay with a group. When you come with a group, you stay with a group. His father, Elmo, said that himself. Anybody that knows him, everybody keeps saying, oh, these white folks was his friend. No, his friend is this young man right here to the left. who said he would never leave his phone like that, and he would never just leave for a girl and not leave with the party of people he came by, because he was taught not to do that. Now that's what his real friend said far to your left there. Okay? And then in the middle, y'all know who's in the middle. That's the brother Carlos Moore, who resides in Atlanta, Georgia, practices law in Tennessee, was a sitting judge at one point in time, a sitting judge in Mississippi, and he had to resign from his job because the racism was real out there. They were trying to railroad this brother. They were trying to destroy his career because he was standing up for the things that were happening to black people that were shady in the state of Mississippi. He was born and raised there. He knows Mississippi very well. Tatum can do all his interviewing, but he don't know Mississippi like this judge does. And here's a quote from his Facebook page. He says here, "Before leaving, I was happy to meet and greet two of Nolan's real friends. As depicted here, they both look like they brothers. I think they are brothers, but I could be wrong. They just look so like they're brothers. The real friend showed up." Check this out, y'all. The real friends showed up in a moment like these and never deserted someone on an island with no answers or accountability. Proud of these guys and praying for their continued strength as they navigate life without their guy, Nolan. They showed up to the funeral, y'all. All the rest of these folks didn't show up to the funeral. While they had a funeral, this guy right here went to Tate.
You know, Nolan was drinking. Everybody was drinking.
He says Nolan was drinking. Everybody was drinking. It's almost like he's trying to emphasize, well, maybe that's why he didn't make it. No, the Cajun Navy rescuers said they didn't see high blood levels in him when they found him for the drinking, for him to be intoxicated on liquor. But he took the time out of his life to sit down with this buck dancer to the left and give him a full interview, because all these clips have been put out into social media. He took the time to sit down and tell all this talk about, oh, we got on the ship and we flew out. We went out there and thousands of people were out there and we drunk a little liquor here and there. This guy ain't saying nothing. Tate, he ain't saying nothing. The question you should be asking him is, why didn't he show up to the funeral for the man that he claims to be his friend? That would be Nolan. Why he didn't show up? Why didn't he show up? And let's hear from Carlos Moore. Just a short little video clip I got of him right here.
Kept the phone, and not only kept it, but either that person or someone that person gave access to allegedly deleted text messages and deleted pictures from Snapchat. And that's
damn
all
shame.
Alleged. But if that's true, that's very suspicious. And then the keys to the car, no one voluntarily took the keys to the father. The father had to go ask for the keys, and there was some kind of delay there.
Boom. Key things. A delay. There was a good friend. I'm gonna play that video for the night's over. The good friend right here, who's the mother of Nolan's real best friend, knows the mother. She had a delay in trying to retrieve the phone. They were acting funny style with her to give her back the phone. Okay. And then the father, as he said, was trying to retrieve keys, and they was acting funny style with him over that. Innocent people don't act like that, folks. Innocent people would say, oh, here we go. Let me go get the keys right here. Boom. No, innocent people don't stay at home with the keys. Innocent people knock on your door. Boom, 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 boom. Mrs. Christine, I want to give my condolence. This is terrible what happened. We were there with Nolan. We left the island. I don't know what happened, or this is what happened. I'm sorry I didn't go back to the island and go look for him. I just found out that something happened to him. See, innocent people go to the family and they speak to the family and they show their condolence. They show their attrition. Innocent people don't take themselves off of social media, scrub their social media, lawyer up real fast when they know they didn't do anything wrong, and then turn around and pick the most buck dancing, they pick the most blackest dude on social media who don't give a damn about black people.
Tell the truth.
To talk to. Isn't that a, man, I tell you, whoo, I tell you not. Let's go.
So that's all very suspicious. It's very suspicious too that certain friends did not help look for Nolan Wells on the next day on July the 5th. I understand that those friends.
Mandrell, good to see you, brother. Thank you for being here.
With their regular day. That's very suspicious.
Bridget, thank you for being here. Let me stop this real quick. Bridget says Mississippi used to not be questioned about their vow practices. Yeah, they're used to doing whatever they want in Mississippi. We got Black Spider who says they love being in front of the cameras. That's a problem, right? You're right about that. Andrew says 15 minutes isn't a long time with teens, though. Yeah, but you missing the whole point. Why would they not just go to the family and show their condolence to the family? Why didn't they go? Why did the family have to hunt them down to find the items? And the only reason why the family knew about they having those items is because they had the GPS 360. If they didn't have the GPS 360, would these folks have ever contacted the family? You do the wondering on that one, because I don't think they would have, because the father already said that he was disrespected by some of those kids. Now, why would he lie about that? Why would her good friend who's lie and say that they didn't give her some strange behavior? These are the behaviors of people that's lying and got something to hide. In my opinion, what's going on, Jay the Informant? 7 from, yeah, I hear you, brother. Salute the chat. Yeah, salute to everybody here. Oh, what's going on, my sister? She says, they hiding evidence, which makes them no friends of his. Facts. Clap on that
Tell the truth.
one. Let's go.
It's also suspicious, and I happened to attend the funeral on Monday. It's very suspicious to me that those same individuals did not attend the funeral of their so-called friend.
Right.
That's very, very suspicious. If you are such a friend of someone that you grew up from childhood to adulthood, but you don't attend their funeral to express your condolences to their parents in person. I saw some other people that some of you Facebook sleuths have criticized. I even took a picture with at least one of the guys you criticized, but yet and still, he was at the funeral. He did not care about you criticizing.
Now, he did. Now, this is a good point. Jalen Williams to the far left did take some criticism because that TMZ interview he didn't go well. But he since cleaned that stuff up. And this is a good point that Judge Carlos Moore is making. He showed up to the funeral. Now, he said on that day he did go to the island. He saw Nolan for a short period. I think he claimed that he saw Nolan at about, 4 o'clock or something like that? I don't know. But he said that they really weren't hanging out with each other throughout that day. So they really weren't with each other throughout the whole day, according to Jalen Williams. Well, guess what? His best friend to the far left here, who did take some criticism when he first did that interview on TMZ. I just don't think the young man was prepared for it. I think he was a little nervous. Okay. But the fact of the matter is he's at the funeral. Where are the rest of these folks? Y'all keep telling us, black folks, y'all keep talking about the white boys. Come on, why y'all keep accusing the white boys of stuff? Them white boys didn't show up to the funeral. Not one of them. So even if they all are, so this is the question. If they were innocent, then why didn't they not show up? Because see, innocent people don't not show up for something. Innocent people would first talk to the family before this whole thing gets out of proportion and tell their side of the story to the family, you see. But nah, not any of these white folks showed up to this funeral that he was hanging out with. Guess who showed up? Black folks. Now y'all tell me something. Y'all tell me something.
Him and saying he may have had something to do with it. Javon and Jalen were there at the funeral, and I took a picture with both
Javon and
of them.
Jalen.
They were there, and I believe both of them were pallbearers. And
all right, Javon and Jalen. Javon, I think, is a young man. These are two decent looking young men going places in life. Jalen, I think, is to the right, and Jalen, who is his friend too, is to the left. That's what he's talking about.
Witnessed them physically weeping at the funeral. So that's the normal reaction of your friends when your friend dies suddenly. So they were there, and I witnessed that, and I also witnessed that those others were not there.
They weren't there, and they're not crying. I haven't heard about any of them crying. We do know that old Hudson went on the podcast. He went on the podcast to do all this talking.
Here, especially on the 4th and, Memorial Day, days like that, they come out here to celebrate, and people get on the water to be off their phones, first off. Second off, if I'm sitting waist deep in water, and all my friends are, everybody's leaving their phone on a boat, in a lake, if you're sitting on a pond, and no one's getting out of the water with their phone in their hand, unless, it's to take a quick picture. But most of the pictures taken on the 4th of July were on the boat. Yeah. I mean, and, salt water, if you drop your phone in salt water, most of the time you're not going to get it back. Yeah. I mean, especially the water's murky right now because there's been a lot of rain. You can't see, the visibility isn't good. The water isn't clear like it was last year around this time. And, no one has their phone though, usually. I mean,
even if what he's saying is true, this is what doesn't add up. As Judge Carlos Moore just said, even if that's true, that you guys usually leave your phones on the boat, that everybody was out there having a good time, there was thousands of people, it still doesn't explain if you're innocent and all y'all left on a boat and left him there and didn't do anything to him. That you left him there and the foul play has happened to him somehow. Something happened to him, but y'all left him because according to Tatum, y'all left him out there at 4 o'clock. Well, let's let Tatum tell you. The buck dancer himself. Check it out.
From way down there, we can see all the way through here. You have thousands of people on this island.
Okay.
Probably 2,000 people. So this wasn't some abandoned, secluded island.
Nobody said that it was abandoned. See, this is the bull crap that people like. I'm not calling him Officer Tatum because he ain't an officer. He ain't got a badge. He don't work for the police department no more. He been out of that line of work. This is the problem I have with him. He wants to paint this picture that he wasn't on a desolate island where there's nobody there. Nobody said that. Everybody already knows that this is a place that people hang out. Everybody already knows that there was a lot of people there on 4th of July. That's the reason why people are wondering what happened to him, because nobody said that they seen him. All we know is everybody left. He got left behind. Their story is that he wanted to stay on there to talk to a girl. Now the girl has changed her story. Yeah, that other girl, that other Katie, she's now changed her story. Nobody has seen her. Now she's saying that she never had such a conversation with him. So who's telling the truth? Who's lying? But the bottom line is, nobody is saying that he was there on a exclusive island. That's the reason why people are tripping. Tatum, you're stupid, because there was a lot of people there. So then if there was a lot of people there, thousands of people, why is it that nobody found his body outside of the Cajun Navy? And why is it that nobody outside, even his friends, so-called friends, or anybody that was on that island, whether they knew him or not, why didn't nobody saw what happened to this young man? That's what you're not getting to the meat and sauce about.
Where nobody's at. But on 4th of July, this is a celebration. And so this wasn't a small place where 4 boys took their black friend and dropped him off and never seen him again. This place was flooded with people. Tons of people.
Nope. They never said they dropped him off. See how he's trying to paint a narrative? Nobody said they dropped him off. They said that Nolan chose to stay back of his own free accord because he wanted to talk to a girl. But now the girl is coming out and saying she didn't have no such interaction with him. See, everybody is changing their stories. Tatum sits up here and say, this isn't a story of some white kids taking them to the island and dropping them off. Nobody said he was dropped off by them. They said that their boat was taking on water. Remember that? And that's why they ended up changing boats or leaving or whatever the case may be. Nobody said that they took them there to drop them off. They said that Nolan chose to stay to see a girl. We're now hearing that story, at least from what the girl has said now to reporters, that may not be the case. So where's the truth in all of this? Let's go.
Multiple boats, multiple friend groups. I mean, everybody's here having a good time. And then the boat gets towed out because it was getting ready to sink. And so, and from what I was told, they told Nolan, get on the boat, man. Get on the boat. Get on the freaking boat. And he decided, because he's an adult, that he was going to stay behind. And all the boys that they've been accusing, and they saying it had something to do with his death, they were all gone at 4:30. They were all gone.
4:30.
And they told Nolan to get on the boat. He didn't. And then there was a report of somebody seeing Nolan around 6:30-ish. This is where the lie started. If anything would
Stop right there. I'm going to shoot through his argument in just a moment. Give me a minute. Now, if that was true, that Nolan said, man, let me off the boat, I'm going to stay here, talk to a girl, just stay here for whatever reason. We know that the father and the mother has said that they taught him to always stay with the people that you came with. We know that his best friend to the left here said that Nolan never leaves his cell phone behind and that he would never have just left his friends just to talk to a girl on an island. That's what his best friend said on the left here. Now, if this is true, that they told Nolan to get on the ship or get on the boat, and he decided not to get on another boat, then why have they not come out to the public and said their piece and gave their condolences to Nolan, his family, his father, other siblings that he has, whoever it may be? If he has other siblings, I don't know, he may not have because we haven't seen them. Why would they not show up to the funeral like these friends right here? I want y'all to take that in. Why? How you doing up Patty's garden and more? Good to see you over here, sister. Good to see you. Got to give you a clap. I'm going to say again, if this is true, why didn't they show up to the funeral? Why didn't they go straight to the parents when they found out that he was missing, that he has now no longer in the third dimension, meaning he's not alive anymore? Why didn't they go to the parents and console the parents? Why didn't they come out to the media and explain their side of the story from the very get-go? Why did they go in? Why did they disappear and allow people to come up with narratives that Tatum is saying now, it is not true? Well, then if it wasn't true, people who are innocent don't go dormant. People that are innocent don't scrub their social media. People that are innocent don't go to podcasts and talk about how we had some drinks and we had a good time going out there, but don't go to the funeral and cry for your man. But they went to the funeral and cried for this young man. Make that make sense. And Tatum, that's the little part that his little noodle brain doesn't get.
Very suspicious. Very, very suspicious. So the phone, the conflicting stories. Katie says one thing and the boys say another thing. The Coast Guard said one thing and then they had to correct themselves and said someone called, one of those three friends on the boat called at 11 p.m. on Saturday night and inquired about Nolan Wells, but did not say enough for them to open up an official investigation and start a search. So all of that taken in conjunction with what was revealed from the independent autopsy preliminarily today would lead me at this point to say today is probable cause for an arrest of one or more persons for the murder of Nolan Wells. And I know Judge Mathis was interviewed, I believe, yesterday. He said he thought it looked like murder as well. He used the words reasonable suspicion. Reasonable suspicion is a lesser burden than probable cause. I'm telling you, I think that it rises higher than reasonable suspicion.
So here you have Judge Carlo Moore, who used to be a judge. He's a lawyer. He believes that it should be higher than reasonable suspicion, but Judge Matthews thinks that it's reasonable suspicion. Let's play Judge Matthews right now.
I don't know how it may have occurred, but for his phone to be left in the boat, obviously, or retrieved rather, and taken in the boat, there's something nefarious about that.
Facts.
So I'm not going to guess and say whether I think they've committed a crime. I'm going to say it's reasonable suspicion.
Reasonable
to believe
suspicion.
That they've committed a crime based on the narrative and the evidence that has been presented so far.
You believe this is very interesting. We've got Black folks that are professionals weighing in on this. And these are people who are in the legal business. Now, you know that Judge Joe Brown, he's turned into a complete buffoon because he's trying to stay relevant because he hasn't been relevant since he's no longer on TV with that judge show. So now he gets on social media and says all type of goofy stuff. Man needs to go set his old ass down somewhere, because he's just like Jason Woodlock and Tatum and all these Black folks who spend all their time talking negatively about Black people. And every time there's a Black person or Black people that do negative things, they try to paint it as if it represents all Black people. I don't know how anybody can listen to these individuals. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm putting a line in the sand right now. Any of these Black folks that I either know or I've associated with, or anybody I know, even on these YouTube streets that have this type of mentality, I'm finished with you. Completely. Not dealing with you. Not that I deal with too many people anyway, but I'm not dealing with these type of individuals. Because these are the individuals that if we were back in slavery, these would be the individuals that would tell the master in the big house, there they go, master. They didn't ran into those trees over there. They go into the Underground Rail. These would be the Negroes that would stop you from getting on the Underground Railroad to get to freedom to the north. These would be the Negroes that would spy on you for the master, that would get extra cornbread on their plate, that would get to live in the big house because they told, these are the Stevens, these are the Tobys, that would rat us out if we were plotting to get out of that plantation and escape and get away. Remember, Malcolm X said there's two types of Negroes. There's the field Negro and there's the house Negro. The house Negro prayed for rain and when the house was caught on fire, while the field Negro prayed for wind and prayed for the house, the big house, to be burned down. When the master got sick, the house Negro prayed for the master to get well, while the house Negro prayed that the master did not get well, prayed that he choked on the chicken bone. And we got these same you-know-whats running around here today in the modern time amongst us. Let's continue.
With racial bias in the investigation?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Because our life is less valuable to the larger community, to white folks. We devalue black men. They devalue our community in general and neglect to give the type of attention to the victimization, crime victims in our community. And this is no more different. You know, Mrs.
More facts. Yeah, India. Yeah, Kunish, another CG. All of you in the chat room, DOD, I see you. Everybody that's here. And if you notice, YouTube has made the font on people's names a little bit larger when you're looking at people on your cell. I'm looking at you guys on my cell phone right here too. And also got a big board over here. I can see you guys writing things and I appreciate you. But it looks like on the cell phone, they've made the font bigger. So it's easier to see people's names. I think that's excellent. Another thing I noticed is it looks like they got rid of all those numbers that were on people. They should get rid of those numbers. Those numbers cause a lot of confusion when trying to recognize people who are supporting the channel. I noticed that too. Yeah, the font is a little bit larger, and I think it looks nice. But they just need to get the damn numbers off y'all name too, and get that little at whatever, get that off. Get that email cursive thing off. They don't need that on there. Go back to the way it was before YouTube. Come on now. Let's get back to the content. We're getting close to conclusion.
Mississippi really has a bad reputation, and this once again is reinforcing it. And I hope they get to the bottom of there's going to be another black eye. Emmett Till.
Facts.
Medgar Evers.
Facts.
Now this, Nolan Wells.
Nolan Wells. Exactly. This situation right here. It's a damn shame. It is a shame. Nolan Wells, like I said, I told you this guy, the family said they don't know this individual. This is another thing too. Did y'all check this out? Did this dude show up to the funeral? This the one that claimed that he was Nolan's best friend. This the one that claimed that nobody would hurt Nolan. This the one that made the claim that he was the one that was arguing out there when they said that people were saying that maybe it was Nolan telling somebody to give him his phone back. This the one that claimed that he's the one that was arguing. Now, I think, to be fair about this, I think Nolan's real best friend to the left here is the one that said that it was him that was out there, I guess, screaming and yelling. But guess what? Did he show up to the funeral? Have we heard about this guy, Trish Shepard, I think is his name? Did he show up to the funeral? We haven't heard anything about that. I'm just calling it as I see it. Meanwhile, his mother still needs answers to the situation. While this man is out there raccooning it up.
Directly involving Nolan and his friends, you can't tell me that thousands of people wouldn't have seen anything happen. This is what they want you to believe it was like on that day, which is a lie. They want you.
Okay, if thousands of people were there that day, you still haven't explained, Officer Tatum. I know you want me to call you officer. You ain't been an officer in God knows when. If what you're saying is true, those thousands of people out there, you still haven't explained why is it that they didn't find his body until a day or two after? Where was all these thousands of eyeballs? You see all them eyeballs out there and nobody saw him get hurt, fall in the water, drown, or or something happened to him. Nobody saw anything. I find that highly suspicious. Just like the coroner, the independent coroner not getting the neck or the throat and the lungs and all the other extra things he needed to examine. According to what Benjamin Crump said, that the independent examiner did not rule out. He could not inclusively say that there was foul play, but he also said he couldn't rule it out. Now, you think you know more than the pathologist knows, man? Mr. Officer, Mr. Social Media Officer, who spends most of your time talking down about black people and grifting and playing to the narrative that your white audience likes.
You to believe they came to a secluded island just for them.
Nobody said, see, this is how this man makes his living on social media. He lies. Nobody said that the island was secluded. Who said that? Nobody has said that. The family didn't say that. None of us have said that. We all have learned that it's an island that people go to and hang out off near Louisiana. So nobody said that they took him to an exerted island that nobody goes to. Come on, man. Nobody has said that narrative. This is your narrative.
And then Nolan is left behind, and then his body's washed up on shore, and nobody knows what happened. Nobody could have seen.
Well, then why, hey, Tatum, why did nobody see his body wash up before the Cajun Navy? Why did nobody see it then, sucker? You just shot your own argument down. You said that there was thousands of people out there. You and Warren Hudson, who claims to be his friend, but didn't show up to the funeral, but showed up to your damn podcast. Give me me and you know what, sucker. You are full of he's full of it, y'all. He's not being honest. See, Tatum is just trying to grift off this situation for his channel, for his own popularity. He wants to be a mainstream anyway. He's looking for a TV show. He's looking for one of these networks like Fox to hire him. Every time these Sambos and Gumbos go on shows like Fox and all this and News Nation, you notice even what's that other guy on social media? What's the other guy? Anton Daniels. Every time they go on them white folks show, they got their teeth bucked out. They always bucking their teeth. Bucking their teeth. Right? They always got their teeth showing like this. They're always bucking their teeth. They on there with a big fat smile because in their mind, I've made it. I have arrived because these white folks have accepted me. I'm part of the club now. You're just a clown. You're just a mascot. They see you as a mascot. These are the friends, the real friends, people that really care about Nolan. On the left is Jelani Williams' mother, who expresses, as I've played before, how she had a difficult time getting the keys. Watch.
So Javon was like, well, that's when I seen it. I haven't seen it since then. Again, everybody goes their separate ways. So I then hang up from Javon because obviously there's nothing he can say to tell me anything. So then Jalen, I call him. Mm-hmm. Jalen did not answer the phone. Christine again is on the phone. Jalen did not answer the phone. LeBaron, he didn't answer the phone. I called LeBaron, which is their other friend, LeBaron Broomfield. He answered. He said Jalen is in the gas station.
That's that young brother to the right. They look like they're brothers, though.
Mom on the phone. So he's like, Jalen, what's up, Mom? What's going on? I was like, hey, have y'all heard from Nolan? They said no. We have not heard from Nolan.
But where was the phone?
So I was like, well, so that's when we started tracking the phone. Well, for Christine, it said one place, but for them on Snapchat, it showed another place. So that's the place we went to. And it showed that everybody that was in the house, it was like a lot of people there. Like I'm not familiar with all the kids. Mm-hmm. I only know like one there, but it showed that the phone was at what a lot of people were at. So that's how we knew where to go to. We went there. They were all there. They were sitting there, lights off, watching TV.
Did they immediately give you the phone? Because knowing that phone was there.
It took about 15. They did. They gave me the phone, but it took about 15 minutes to get the phone. Because I even asked, I'm like, did y'all have to walk back to Horn Island to get the phone? Or like, where's the phone? Because it took so long when they said it was when Wyatt told me it was in his truck. It took him so long to get the phone back to me.
Why would it take them? If these are innocent people, they were not. I think they got caught off guard because they weren't expecting someone from the family to show up because they didn't go talk to the family. The fact that she had to go to their house, I think she went to Wyatt's house One of the guys that was on the boat with him on that picture out of those three. Why the hell did they have to go to them in the first place? Because they had no intentions on talking to the family. They weren't just going to go about their life. That's why they didn't show up to the damn funeral. They go in the car, as she said, and give her the phone. Got her waiting. Didn't say, you know what I noticed too? None of them told this lady that's talking here, right here, his real best friend's mother. None of them told them, we're sorry about what happened to Nolan. You would have think that they would have been grieving, crying, and telling this woman right here, we're sorry that we didn't go talk to the family yet. We just scared, but we didn't do any, they didn't do no grieving. They didn't tell her how they give their condolences about what happened. She never mentioned anything about how these kids showed their emotions about Nolan being missing or now found no longer alive. Don't you find that highly suspicious, everybody that's in the chat, that during this exchange that she had with them, there was no, we're sorry about what happened to Nolan. Even when it came to the father, when he went to retrieve the keys, none of those kids even said to the father that we're sorry about what happened to Nolan, that we apologize, sir. He said that he felt highly disrespected, that they lied to him. I want y'all naysayers that are supporting or saying that nothing was no foul play. I want you naysayers out there to explain, why were these kids acting like that with the family members or friends of the family? Why were they acting strange? Why didn't they show up to the funeral? If you're really innocent, you're going to first, before there's a funeral, you're going to first make a grievance to the family. You're going to first knock on their door. You're going to first go to their door. You had his car. You're going to drive his car or have someone drive his car back to the family's house, knock on their door and grieve with the family and say, we got his car here. We just wanted to bring it here and tell you how much we also feel so bad about what happened to Nolan out there. We apologize that we let him stay out there. If that's their story, that he stayed out there. We don't hear any reports of that being said to the family. You know why? Because the family would have told us so.
So when they brought the phone back.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Tashima. I want to hear that.
Kashima is her name.
When they brought the phone, after I said something about it, he was like,
Christine's
friend.
friend.
I was like, who's going to get it? He's like, the girl's going to get the phone. So I'm assuming, I don't want to say the wrong name because I don't know these kids' names.
Sure.
And I know how I feel about my child, but one of the girls at the house, I'm pretty sure it was Katie. Her name was
right
Katie.
Here. It's this one young lady right here. Because I made a mistake in my other videos. I thought that she was the one that he stayed on the island and talked to. No, this is Katie Diaz. She's the one, as I've been corrected, that gave her the phone finally. Right here, what you're looking at right here. I had to make a correction on what I had said in previous videos.
Diaz or something like that. She brought me the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Christine,
So
when you're
that's how we
hearing this,
retrieve-
I mean, in the phone in the 15-minute window.
She's hearing it, and they haven't given her any. This is some BS, everybody. I want everyone, all the great people in the chat room, please do me the favor and share the video. DOD, it shouldn't take 15 minutes. Facts. If they knew they harmed him and had his phone, why would they not expect someone to come to their phone for their phone? You know why? I can tell you why. Is because they didn't know. Come on now. It's very logical. They didn't know that the mother had GPS 360 on the phone, because that's the only reason why they knew about the phone being on land, on the inland, is because she had 360 GPS. Those kids didn't count on the fact that Nolan's mother or father, both of them together, put 360 GPS on the phone. I would implore all of y'all to, if you have kids, teenagers, young people, put this 360 on their phone. Hell, put it on your phone. That's why they weren't counting that this family had prepared for this, meaning having a GPS system on the phone that can determine where that phone is at, which is why they probably got knocked off guard when Nolan's father showed up for the keys, and when Christine's friend, who is also has a son that's best friends to the left here with Nolan, Jelani, they wasn't counting on the fact that they had a GPS system that would knock it all out of the park. They weren't counting on that, y'all. They didn't anticipate that. And check this out. Judge Carlos Moore, I give y'all a complete show tonight. Judge Carlos Moore says he believes that this judge right here, who is the mother or stepmother of Warren Hudson, who gave that goofy interview to Buck Dancing Tatum, he believes that she should be reported to the board, to the legal board, because she's a sitting judge who should keep her mouth shut. Well, go on and listen to what he said here. Check this out. Check this out, everybody. Check this out.
Justice swings one way when it comes to white people and another way when it comes to others. Talk a little bit about what can be done with this judge speaking out prematurely as a sitting judge. What could be done to her?
I understand that there have already been judicial complaints filed against her with the Mississippi Commission on Judicial Performance. They should open an investigation, and they will make recommendations to the Mississippi Supreme Court on how she should be disciplined.
Will we know anything about that from those complaints? How does that go?
You will not learn it until something is filed with the Supreme Court. The Commission's investigation is private. So once it becomes public record, once it's filed, the regulations are filed with the Supreme Court, and we would know.
Wow. Did you hear what he said? There's already complaints about this judge who's a sitting judge. When you are a sitting judge, you can't interfere in a potential case. You can't do that. Everyone, thank you for watching the program tonight. I want to say thank you. I want to put that up there like so. And we're going to get ready to get on out of here in just a moment. I want to say thank you for watching the program tonight. I want you to share the video.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Share the video on all your social media. Share the video with people that you know personally that are interested in this case, the situation. Share it in your community tab, your content creator yourself. I thank you for coming over tonight. Hopefully, I know Honors did a show tonight about Umar Johnson, so hopefully a lot of those folks that would normally have been over here tonight that are watching his presentation about Umar Johnson, hopefully those folks will come back and watch the replay of this show tonight and into tomorrow and this whole week. I'll be putting out more content. Go all this week. I'll be putting out some content, more content's coming. I'm increasing the value of the content. And I hope you appreciate that. I want to say that I want Nolan and his family to get justice. I want the truth to come out. I think that it's highly suspicious that the autopsy report expert or examiner, doctor, didn't have the throat that he needed, the lungs, they didn't even send him pictures that he could examine when they first found Nolan's body. That's highly suspicious in my book. I don't think that was cool. Something about that is questionable. I want to know more about this red discoloration in the soft tissue of the back of his head or the skull area, as the independent examiner wrote. And I didn't like it. Benjamin Crump was the one giving the presentation. I thought that was bad. If you're trying to bring home the point of what's happening to this family and their son, you should have had a professional doctor read these boards, not Benjamin Crump. That's just my opinion. Don't hate on me. I just feel that I don't understand why the Dr. Mitchell could have not been there to give this presentation, or why they could not have maybe brought in someone that is a medical doctor to interpret the boards in a way that would be more, even better than what Crump was able to present. You see, because I think when people screamed about the contents of the body being missing, a real medical examiner could really break that down a lot better. Why? They do take out the contents of your body. But the question here is, why did they give their independent examiner no lungs, no neck or throat, no pictures of what the body looked like when they first found the body before you have post-mortem setting in? It all stinks. It stinks. It all stinks, everybody. It doesn't smell good. It doesn't smell good at all. I want to thank you all for coming over and being a part of this program tonight. I want to thank you, everybody that's in the chat room. Patty's Garden and More. Make sure y'all check out her channel. Black Spider, thank you for coming over. Mr. Reese says, yes, she made a public statement stating that details. Furthermore, she was not even there on the island by her own admission. So if she wasn't there on the island by her own admission, she had no business putting out those statements and putting that into the discourse and muddying up the waters, because they certainly tell us on social media that we're muddying up the waters. And this is why what Judge Carlos Moore said is correct, that there's people filing complaints against her as I speak. What's going on, Dallas Warren? Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here. DOD, thank you for being here. I'm going to get ready to end the show right now. Y'all watch the replay. For those of you who might have come in and didn't see the presentation from the beginning, you've got to see everything from the beginning, because I put all the details out in this video that we have that we do have. I'm going to say again, I played some Nancy Gray. She claimed that she had an actual photo of Nolan's body in the position that it was, face down. But then they say he has some blunt bleeding in the back. If he was face down, why does he have blunt bleeding in the back? Why is it that she has a photo that none of us have seen? Why is it that she has a photo that, even as far as I know, the sheriff's department didn't put out? So where'd she get this from? Who's leaking the information? Now, I got to be honest. It's good that she said it, because it's exposing something that they're not telling us. In this video, she jammed up the Navy rescuer and got him to further double down on the fact that his body was found in an unusual way. So check this video out. Examine this video that we've done today. Examine it, share it, put it in your social media. I appreciate you all out there. Take care and much love to you. Peace.
And if it's what you want, I'ma give it to you. Yeah, promise, I'ma give it to you.
Y'all take care now. Thank you for coming tonight, and be back with more content this upcoming weekend. Take care. Thank you for watching.
It's all around us, these high ceilings, and I need it, baby. Pressure at McDonald's, I want steal it, baby. Silent, baby. First we see you crying, know you trying, ain't no lying, baby. When I say I need you, greedy if I have to share you. It was me that all along did you wrong, thinking that I made you beautiful and strong. This toxicity, the death of me, I feel the day you gone. The most beautiful girl I've ever known. I'll find a way to treat you better. I swear there's no one out there like you. You teach me to be better. My talk is cheap, keep asking what I do. I'll fly you to the moon and hope I'll see you soon. I'll find a way to treat you better. No problem, I'll do whatever. Let her know, I gotta let her know that she my white horse, she my medical. She like my baby mama, know how to take care of me. Give my baby problems, you gon' regret every day. So I let her know, gotta let her know. Came through the front door, I'll be ready for her. And if it's what you want, I'ma give it to you. Yeah, promise, I'ma give it to you. La 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 la. Da 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 da. La 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 la
Information is power. You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.